Holy cow, you guys. I had something totally different planned for this week's video, but this just happened to me at a patient's house, and I think that we need to talk about it. So it was my first time seeing this patient, a brand new evaluation. He had just got out of the hospital 4 days ago. I'm talking to him, trying to find, just doing my assessment. And he's having a very hard time coming up with his thoughts, expressing himself, answering really basic questions. He's trying to tell me what happened to him, but there's just these huge pauses and delays. And I start flipping through the chart going, did he have a stroke that I missed somewhere when I was reviewing his chart? Why is he having such delayed processing? I didn't see any sort of diagnosis of dementia or a stroke or any sort of neurological issue that would explain why he's having this much trouble explaining himself. Did he have some sort of encephalopathy, like some sort of brain swelling when he was in the hospital? What did I miss on his chart? This is not what I was expecting to walk into. And I'm asking him questions, and we're going through this and that, and in the middle of a sentence, he goes, well, my wife died yesterday. I said, yesterday? He said, yeah. She was in the hospital too. But her son called me yesterday and she passed away. And this sort of information gets brought up a lot when I'm at work. This is not the first time that I have had a conversation with somebody where it comes out that there had been a sudden death that day, the day before, 2 days before. Really, really upsetting stuff. And it's why it's so important to me to help explain to people how to have these conversations in a way that is helpful and connecting and comforting to that other person, instead of you being so shocked and uncomfortable by this topic that you react in a way that's not great. And here's the thing, is when I had pulled up to the patient's house, there was a different man that had come out of the house, and he got into a truck and left right before I walked in. And so this is not unusual. I figured maybe it's his son, or maybe it's somebody there to check on the cable. I don't know. It could be anybody. But I didn't think anything about it. The patient starts telling me this story about how he had not seen this person in 4 years. It was this random occurrence, blah, blah, blah. And here's what the guy did. So the guy had randomly dropped in on him after not seeing him for 4 years, and finds out that his wife had passed away the day before. And what this man did was, with so much love and positive intention, and I could tell he just wanted to do something to make him feel better, to try to give him something to look forward to, some kind of positive spin on all of this. So he starts talking to my patient about getting back on the golf course. So my patient had been the primary caregiver for his wife for the last year. In the last year, she'd broken her hip. She'd had a really severe stroke. She had become pretty dependent on him as her primary caregiver around the clock. So not only did he lose his wife, he also lost his primary identifying factor for the last several years, which has been to be a 24/7 caregiver for her. Caregiver burden is something that I also talk about a lot, because it has its own difficulties and overwhelming aspects to it. But to have that suddenly ripped away from you with no warning. I mean, she'd been in the hospital, but he didn't think it was that bad. There had not been indications that it had been that bad. And this was just also sudden for him. So to have this other person come in and immediately say, hey, you know what we should start doing is, you and I, we need to start going to lunch on a regular basis, and we need to start playing golf again, and we can meet up for this and we can do that, and you need to get back on the golf course and all this stuff. And this guy had such a good intention. I don't mean to disparage it at all. I know that his only intention was to try to give this man something to look forward to, something good to think about, whatever. But here's what I want to say, and I talk about this in my book. So if this is a subject that is difficult for you, if this is a topic that would have thrown you over backwards if it had happened to you, please, please, please get a copy of my book, Navigating and Avoiding Awkward Conversations, because the entire last section of the book is about this exact same thing: caregiver burden, illness, grief. And I wrote this section of the book because of this, because this happens to me all the time, and because I see incredibly well-meaning people who handle it in a way that is not as helpful as they mean for it to, because what happened was that person left, I came in, and I wound up having a conversation with this patient about this confusion that he was feeling. He was feeling dazed and confused and split and just kind of upset, and he didn't know what to do, and he's asking me questions, and he's trying to process the fact that his wife just passed, but then this other guy's saying he wants to play golf, and maybe I should play golf. Do you think I can? I don't think I should. Is that something I should even do? I don't know. I can't think about this right now. And I had to come back and say, hang on. Your friend had a great plan. And I do think that physically, I think it's very reasonable that you could get back to playing golf. If that's something you want to work on in therapy, we can make sure that we're working on the strength and balance that we need to work on for you to make that happen. But I really don't think that thinking about that right now, trying to make a decision about that right now, really dedicating any sort of brain space to that right now is what you need, because your wife just passed away, and that is a huge loss. It's a huge change. There's practical things that you need to deal with. You still have not arranged a funeral or service or any of that. You've got people that you still need to call who don't even know that it's happened yet. You have a lot going on and a lot that you need to focus on. And I think that you need to give yourself the space to just process what's going on now and shelf what your friend just said to you. It was a good intention. And I think that, practically speaking, yes, this is a new chapter of your life. You do have things that you will be able to do that you weren't able to do before, but now is not the time to focus on that. So keep your friend's phone number and call him in a month. But right now, let's just focus on you and your family and everything that you need to focus on right now. And let's get through the next couple of weeks and then worry about what comes next, but not right now. And I would just encourage you that when you are interacting with someone who tells you big news, bad news, upsetting news, focus on that. Ask them, how are you doing? What can I do for you? What do you need? Do you want to talk about it? Do you not want to talk about it? Let that person take the lead, but don't hurry to get them off the topic. Don't think that by distracting them with good news and well wishes and plans for the future and thinking about all the good that's to come, you're not erasing the bad. You're stuffing it down. You're sending that person the message that you're not comfortable with that conversation, that they need to not talk about it. You're not giving them the space to breathe and grieve and process, and they need that. And if you can hold space for them to go through those emotions instead of trying to go around them, then you will be providing love and support in exactly the way that that person needs it. I'm sending so much love to you. And again, if this is a subject that's difficult for you when it comes up, please, please go get a copy of my book. I wrote it for you for this reason, for these conversations. It's very important to me. And I think that it's something that it's a skill that can be learned. It's something that can be learned and understood and approached differently. You just need to know how, and my book can help you to figure that out. I'm sending so much love to you. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.